Welcome to the latest edition of the LL Spring Sports Roundtable, brought to you by Substitute Teacher Service. My name is Mike Gross, and I'm hosting this deal. To my left is Jason Guarente. To my right is Jeffrey Reinhardt. These gentlemen cover spring sports in the LL League, and we're almost at the end of all that, which means we're at the biggest games of the year in high school sports. And we're going to talk about first with Jason lacrosse, apropos to that.
Manheim Township girls fell in the 3A semifinals to Conestoga, 5-4 double overtime. Wow. One of those crushing games that happened at the end of the PIAA tournament. Two powerhouses down to the wire. I just wanted to put Township's run in perspective here. District 1 had 7 of the 16 teams in the PIAA 3A field. Wow. 5 of the final 8, 3 of the final 4. Wow. Township's road to the championship was Downingtown West in the quarters. Downingtown West went undefeated in the regular season, was the number 1 seed in District 1. Wow. They beat Downingtown West. Their opponent in the semifinals is Conestoga, which is the District 1 runner-up. That's the team that beat Downingtown West in the District 1 tournament. And if they had beaten Conestoga, they would have gotten Radnor, who's the District 1 champion. Wow. So the point is, no one outside of District 1 is playing with these powerhouse teams, except for Manheim Township.
Yeah, that's really true. And it's because of these 16-team brackets in the spring sport, it's harder to sort of sneak your way through without running into
the best teams are so good, and you run into them so early. Conestoga, they held them scoreless from the end of the first quarter until 1:42 left in the game.
People don't do that.
It's incredible.
Township gets like 20 goals a game.
When the games get better, do they tend to get lower scoring?
Not usually. Not like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do, but you look at some of the District 1 tournament matchups, there's a lot of 14-11, 9-7. This was an unusually low-scoring game. And they were 1:42 from finishing that off. Ellie Wish scores to tie it, and she scores in double overtime to win it. She's a Penn State recruit. I mean, you're talking about one of the best players in the state. And, you know, it's just a crusher. And I just wanted to point out there's some crossover here between the field hockey team and the girls lacrosse team. So a lot of these girls went to a PIAA final in the fall and a PIAA semifinal in the spring, and they won league and district championships in both. So that's an incredible,
very impressive.
Pretty strong.
Township will get there. They'll get over the hump.
They're this close.
Yeah, that's their bugaboo is the state tournament. But
we have a big result from last night in the volleyball side of it. Jeffrey, take it away.
Unbelievable. Manheim Central, Barons, they're going to the state championship in Class 2A. Central, back-to-back Section 2 champ, back-to-back LL League champ. Lost to Exeter in the district final, 3-0 at Exeter. Barons got some payback in the state semifinals on Tuesday night at Cocalico, neutral floor, a floor that Manheim's a little familiar with. Cocalico's in their section. But anyway, Central wins the first set. Exeter comes back, wins the next 2. Central comes back and wins the fourth to force a 5th. Exeter was up like 10-7, 10-8 in the 5th, and Central came back and won 15-13. So good on the Barons. They've been amazing. And
Central probably was the on-paper underdog in this game. Had lost to them previously.
They did.
And Exeter has this kid who's one of the best players in the country.
Gage Gabriel, 6'8". He's good.
Good size.
Good size. He's going to Penn State. He's on the U.S. national team. So they must have kept him relatively in check in the state semifinal. Central comes back and wins. They beat Lansdale Catholic 3-0 in the first round. They beat Holy Redeemer 3-0 in the quarters. And they knock off Exeter 15-13 in the 5th. Next up for Central, 2A state title match, Saturday, 11 o'clock, Rec Hall, Penn State.
Rec Hall.
Venerable Rec Hall.
Venerable.
Looking forward to it. They play Meadville, the District 10 champ. Meadville's been here. They won the state title in 22, I believe, or 22 they won. They're undefeated. They're 20-0. They're tough. So this is a tough matchup here. I don't know if Meadville's played the same kind of schedule. Manheim Central's seen all these great teams out here on our side of the state, including
Central
Exeter
is probably not the underdog on paper in this game.
Correct. They only have one loss. It was to Exeter. Meadville, as mentioned, they're undefeated. Their only slip up, they lost to Shaler in a tournament. And I'll get to Shaler in a second. They're dynamite. So Manheim Central, Saturday, 11 o'clock against Meadville Rec Hall. See you at Penn State. AAA, Warwick, water ride for the Warriors in AAA. They make it all the way to the state semifinals. Cover that match Tuesday in Altoona. They ran into Shaler. And I heard about Shaler now for 2 or 3 years. They're legit. They are really good. A ton of moxie, a ton of just focus and determination on every point. They're chatting and chatter, and you're there, and he's over there, and they were really good. So they beat Warwick 3-0. Section 1 co-title for Warwick, LL League runner-up, District 3 runner-up, first time in a district championship. Good for them. This was their deepest trip in states to the semis since 1995, so it's been a while, but Warwick was great. They upset powerhouse North Allegheny in the first round. They beat Penridge 3-2 in the quarters, and then they ran into a really, really good Shaler team, which has been number 1 in the state in AAA the whole year. So Shaler will play Parkland in the AAA final, also at Penn State. Warwick, 16 wins, first semifinal state run since 95. Co-champ in the section, LL runner-up, district finalist. Terrific season for Warwick. They get to the state semis. Anxious for Saturday. See what the Barons can do with Meadville.
Boom.
The Meadville...
Extremists.
No.
Hard-charging immigrants.
The Bulldogs. You were close.
Yeah, well,
Right on the edge there.
right on the edge, yeah. Okay, let's do a little baseball and softball. Quickly wrap up softball because we are no longer dancing in that sport. Warwick lost in the state quarterfinals in 6A to Council Rock South. 1-0. Council Rock South is now in the state final, and all their state tournament games have been 1-0 wins.
No kidding.
They must have a pitcher.
That's
I'm
a great
guessing.
nugget.
This just in. They must have a pitcher. They will play North Penn, which eliminated Central Dauphin in the semifinals. That game at Penn State on Friday at 4 o'clock. But the big news is we have a baseball team. An LL baseball team will play for the Big School State Championship for the second time in 3 years.
Impressive.
It is Hempfield, which beat Downingtown West 9-7 in a long, tense battle the other night at Muhlenberg High School, which I witnessed, and I got out of there, and I got to lock up the stadium actually. But
Was that a Donnybrook?
it was I would refer to it as a Donnybrook, and the key thing here is there was a lot of balls. It was one of those deals where there's a lot of ground balls that do they get through the infield or not. That was there was a lot of that, but. How do you win a game like that? You put the ball in play. Downingtown West struck out 13 times. Hempfield struck out 4 times. Downingtown West made a couple of key errors. Hempfield made no errors. Fewer mistakes were what decided it ultimately, and that's how they won. Their opponent tomorrow, this is tomorrow in the state final at Penn State, a 4:30 start, is LaSalle College High School from District 12, which has won 3 state titles in the last 10 years. Wow. They have a pitcher who's going to Alabama. Wow. They have a power bat first baseman type guy who's going to Virginia Tech. They have an infielder who's going to Villanova. They're 25-3. They won 14 in a row. Wow. They produced 57 college players over the last 10 years.
Holy moly. You know what, though? Hempfield hasn't been fazed by that kind
Oh,
of
no. They were. Yeah, I think Hempfield up and down the lineup. They have 9 pretty good baseball players who put the ball in play, who know how to play the game. They're baseball guys. In that way, they're very similar, I think, to Warwick 2 years ago. That great Warwick team. Just a bunch of baseball first guys, and they're certainly not going to be phased. Whether this team is just too good for them, but over 7 innings of baseball, who knows? So it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Hempfield's pitching situation is a little because they used their 2 top guys through some the other night against Downingtown West. I think Brody Gebhardt, the no-hit guy, will probably get the ball to start. We'll see, and then it might be a cast of several who will throw some.
How about that game? They drive all the way across the state to Du Bois,
Oh,
and
man.
Gebhardt throws a no-hitter.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That was really something. That was a great performance by him. Almost a routine thing. We all looked up at like a fourth or fifth inning, and this dude's got a no-hitter going. And it was really impressive. And I can't say I loved driving to DuBois, but it was a pleasant afternoon.
There you go.
And the game flew along. That was cool. So anyway, Hempfield, this is a sport our league is very good at.
Yes.
We'll see what they can do tomorrow about winning a second state title for the league in 3 years. It's Hempfield against LaSalle College for the 6A state championship.
Bingo.
Anything else for the good of the order, gentlemen?
No, we're wrapping up here. One more show next week.
One more show next week, and we'll kind of wrap up the school year, big picture it a little bit across all high school sports, and give you a little sense of closure on this another interesting school year in the Lancaster Lemon League. That's it, gang. This has been the LL Spring Sports Roundtable. He's Jason. I'm Mike. He's Jeff. See you later.